Hey, what is going on, guys? This is the SS Ultimate Goku back with another video. To do my NFL Green Bay Packers Beast recap show. The Green Bay Packers beat our division rival Minnesota Vikings in Green Bay, 23-6. There was a lot of good things to coming out of this game. There were a lot of concerns coming out of this game. The biggest story of this game, obviously, is Emmanuel Wilson, our backup running back who got the start today because Josh Jacobs got injured, left the game during the Giants game. I firmly believe he probably could have played this game, but they didn't want to risk it. They wanted to save him for Thanksgiving. And the way Wilson had been playing as a complimentary back for Josh Jacobs the past couple weeks, I expected Wilson to play pretty good. He completely exceeded expectations. And I firmly believe that the game plan changed during this game because I don't think they were going to run the ball that much with Wilson. But the way Wilson was playing and the way the Vikings couldn't stop it, they just kept doing it. They kept running it. But right before the first half, I think he was already over 100 yards. Wilson was amazing in this game. He was exactly what we needed out of this game. He had 28 attempts for 107 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. He also had 2 receptions for 18 yards. For receiving. But, monster game for him. Go to all-purpose yards, he was probably around 120-ish. So Wilson was definitely a star of this game. I firmly believe that on Thanksgiving we will have Josh Jacobs getting the start, but I do feel confident now, even more so with what we got in Wilson. As a complimentary back, we already seen a little bit from him coming off for Josh Jacobs in the little bit time that we had seen him as a complimentary back to him. But to see him in his first start, I was extremely impressed with Wilson's performance. We absolutely need that. We're going to need that. We're going to need him to be ready, and we're going to need Josh Jacobs to be ready on Thursday for the Thanksgiving game because, Detroit Lions are obviously a much better team than the Minnesota Vikings are, and we're going to need our best. So what do I take away from this game? This is our first division game since week 1 when we beat the Lions the first time. That was the only time we had a division game this season until today. Really weird scheduling because we have the Lions on Thanksgiving, and then we got the Bears then the next week after that. So we got a lot of stacked against us for the divisions over here. Having to play the division teams this late, the majority of them. But I do believe we are comfortable in this. Again, our only touchdowns was, rushing touchdowns, was to Emmanuel Wilson, much deserved. Jordan Love didn't really have to pass the ball that much because of the result of how good Wilson was going on the ground. He ended up only having 14 completions for 21 attempts. He had 139 yards passing yards. He did give up 1 sack in the game. But again, this was a more running attack. And the way the game was going, it made sense to continue going to the run the way Emmanuel Wilson was rushing for first downs in the game. I think they would have passed the ball more had Wilson not been able to get the holes that he was getting as a running back. But when they were being successful on the run, they just stuck to it. They just stuck to the run at that point. The Vikings couldn't do anything on our defense. Our defense ate McCarthy alive. okay, in this game. He could do nothing against our team. Micah Parsons had 2 sacks. Who else? Who else had it? There were so many. McDuffie had a half sack. He also had an interception in this game. Watts, he had 2 sacks. Who else? Person had a half sack. I think that was the one that won the botch snap, right? That was the botch snap one. Yeah, I mean, it was total domination. Parsons was doubled. So that's why, a lot of these sacks were set up because of Parsons too. Because he was being doubled. He was being doubled in this game, and I think some of the sacks. I think one of the sacks from Watts, especially, was set up because they were like doubling Parsons, and so that left him to get it. And then we also had another interception. Wilson, he had the game-winning or game-sealing interception, I should say. And we also got them to do the Viking taunt or whatever. After that, there was also the muffed punt, or I'm sorry, like the punt. It touched the return guy's leg or whatever, and we were able to get that recovery. That was the first turnover. That was like right when we punt the ball coming out of halftime. We had the ball first in the second half, and we come out of halftime, and we go 3 and out, and then we hit the punt it, and then which I was mad about, but then of course the return guy touched it on his foot or whatever, and we recovered it, and then of course, as we all know, Wills got a second rushing touchdown in that. After that, again, running attack and mostly field goals. It was a total of 3 field goals. Brandon made them all, thankfully. And he made the 2 extra points, which was good. I'm happy about that because I was worried about his kicks at this point. But, that was enough right there. And again, against the Vikings, these 23 points was enough to win the game against a young Viking team. That offense is clearly struggling. But on Thursday when we play Thanksgiving against the Detroit Lions, which we're starting it up, we're playing the Lions. And we're playing Detroit in Detroit, which they just had a miracle win against the Giants in overtime, which I'm still pissed about. We can't take them for granted, and you're not going to see the inexperienced team like you've seen against the Vikings. We're going to have to score more points. We're going to have to pass the ball because I don't think we're, even with Josh Jacobs in the game, because I think he'll be ready for Thursday because he's had all this rest to heal up the injury for Thursday. And we have Wilson, who will be a good complementary back for him. I still think it's going to be more of a passing attack game. We're going to have to do that against the Lions. I'm confident with our defense. Our defense can do, Parsons can disrupt the Lions' front four. He did it in the first game when he wasn't even playing that much. Remember, he wasn't in the first game. He only played like about 20% of that game, and he managed to get a sack. He played maybe 20% of that game, and he got a sack. So, in a full game where he's playing most of the snaps, probably 98% of the game is going to be Parsons. I think he'll be even better against that, so that doesn't worry me, but I'm still worried about Dan Campbell and his, how Dan Campbell is. He's balls to the wall, just like Allen. He wants to do 4th downs all the time. That's going to be a huge issue next week. Vikings, not so much we had to worry about. Again, we are a game behind the division. We are ahead of the Lions because we have the tiebreaker and we have a tie, which is what puts us ahead of them. But the Bears, with that win against the Lions, thanks to stupid freaking Mason Rudolph, who looked like shit, Aaron Rodgers would have won that game had he been playing. We gotta look. We gotta look at that. We gotta look at where these games are at. We're only playing NFC North teams in the NFC, and then we have 2 more AFC teams, and that's it. We are not playing any NFC teams outside of our division anymore for the rest of this regular season. So they're all division games, and they're all important games because they have division/playoff seeding implications. So every one of these games are crucial. And this game, I'm happy we won, but I am kind of worried coming out of the next game against the Lions. We really need to show that we belong. We really need to show it, against these teams. Lions, everyone says what we did in week 1 was a fluke. No, that was not a fluke. We have a tremendous defense. We have lost to teams that we should have beaten. The Browns suck. The Panthers are okay, but they're a team that's still rebuilding and we should have beaten them. Eagles, the team that's supposed to be the best team, right? We should have beaten them. We only lost to them by 3 points. And by the way, they just lost to the Dallas Cowboys with a freaking 21 unanswered points and beat them in overtime. And the Cowboys didn't even look good in that game. The Eagles gave them that game. Okay? That's the best in the NFC. That's the best team right now. The Eagles are the best team. They won the Super Bowl last year. They're the best team right now. Okay? You guys might say not on paper the Eagles are not the best. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. They are the best team right now. They're the team you have to beat, okay? And the freaking Cowboys, as pitiful as they played today, beat that team, okay? That is a team we should have beaten. Like, all these teams that we lost to, we could have beaten. Even the tie against the Cowboys, we could have won that game. But we freaking were terrible in clock management in overtime. Okay, and made a stupid decision with the kicking thing. Kicking first. I don't know why people think kicking is the right move in overtime. That is so fucking stupid. Especially if the teams are draining the clock. Like, I seen that with the Giants made that decision. I thought that was incredibly stupid. The Giants should have taken the ball. When they won the coin toss. Like, I don't know what people are thinking anymore. Just ridiculous, man. But yeah, overall, after that interception that we talked about, Williams got, we put Malik Wilson for the last 3 minutes, and he had 1 completion for 1 attempt, 7 yards passing, and he handed the ball off a couple times. All right, so besides Malik Willis, we already talked about his stats. Brooks, who was the backup today, he had 8 attempts for 21 yards rushing. Jordan Love had 3 attempts for 15 yards rushing. Malik Willis, who came in briefly at the end there, had 2 attempts for 3 yards rushing. For receiving, we had Christian Watson, who was the leading wide receiver with 5 receptions for 49 yards. Wicks had 2 receptions for 32 yards. Romeo Dobbs had 2 receptions for 23 yards. We talked about Wilson already. Fitzpatrick had 1 attempt for 11 yards. Musgrave had 1 reception for 7 yards. And Brooks also had 1 reception for 1 yard. I should also bring up that McDuffie, and I don't know, he got the interception. One of the players, like, literally, freaking, as he was throwing the ball, like stripped it or whatever, or hit it, and that allowed the ball to like sail or whatever, and it literally went into McDuffie's hands. If it hit the ground, I think it would have been considered a forced fumble. It would have been considered a strip sack forced fumble because he was under the line of scrimmage. But because it flung forward into the air and McDuffie caught it, they counted it as an interception because that was definitely not a forward pass. But it flung like 10 like yards or whatever, and McDuffie like caught it. So they counted it as an interception. That's how I'm wondering. I'm wondering, like, because of that, like, because it wasn't going forward. I was looking at that. It was not going forward. One injury note I should bring up, too, is that Tricky Dicky, a.k.a. Nixon, he went out with a stinger, it was reported on the Fox broadcast. When the second half started, they reported that he would not be returning to the game with the stinger. So he was out for the remaining of the game. Hopefully it is not as serious. And they were just being precautionary on Nixon here. But that is something to look out for. Because depending on how the extent of the injury is, he most likely might not play the Thanksgiving Day game. Or again, maybe it wasn't that serious, but they were being precaution about it, and so decided not to put him in for the second half. But we'll look in to see where that is. But yeah, guys, good team win, but there's still a lot of things that needs to be corrected, especially for the coming Thursday game for Thanksgiving. Make sure to comment, rate. If you like this video, my videos, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell for the latest contents. Thank you. Go Pack Go. This is the Packer recap show. Make sure to thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell and all that stuff. Yeah, make sure to do all that, guys. That's it. Go Pack Go, guys. I'm the SS Ultimate Goku, and I'm out of here. Peace. Also, make sure, besides my YouTube channel, follow me on the Twitch, the Instagram, and I do have a Discord link in the description where we discuss a lot of various topics, including this one here. And now I'm out. Peace.